Welcome, beautiful people, to yet another episode of Yelkin Round. Sorry.
Gotta exert some energy.
Gotta. Just had my cup of coffee, so I am wired up,
Hyped.
ready to go.
Hyped.
God damn it.
Up. Yeah, let's get it.
I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Derek Mayo,
And I'm Diana.
and we are recording another Sunday. Beautiful afternoon.
Sunday party.
Sunday party, yeah. We have a couple news, and actually I have research papers that research studies. I don't have research papers, but I have research studies to kind of change up the flow of the program, because I feel like sometimes, since we focus so much on news, it could be kind of like very jarring sometimes and bring down the vibe.
Truly. There's always shit going on.
Yeah, there's too much shit going on. So every now and again, I will try to like find some sort of research study to take away, And I want to say that today's news are kind of like more on the lighthearted side of things,
cool.
more fun for you guys watching. So
kind of like a palate cleanser then?
Yeah, kind of like a palate cleanser every now and again, so that the people are not sitting at their home having existential crisis if they are listening about the ins and outs of what America is and how the government is not doing well. But before we start, you are rocking your Snow the Product shirt.
Fuck yeah. Finally got me some merch, baby.
You went back to concerts. We went to Rauw Alejandro last Friday.
Week. Yeah.
And now this Thursday you went to Snow the Product.
I did.
Where did she perform?
Ogden Theater.
Ogden. Okay.
Yeah. She was originally supposed to perform at Mission Ballroom.
Before she made an announcement that she had COVID or something like that.
Yeah, a few days before the concert. I think it was on Sunday. I think this past Sunday she announced that she had COVID. We're like, oh fuck. I think she had to cancel a show in, I don't remember what state, but she did have to cancel a show, kind of reschedule. And then I was like, well shit, I hope obviously I don't want to get COVID, but if she had to reschedule, I would have been a little bit bummed out.
You wouldn't get COVID for Snow?
She wouldn't do that to her fan base.
There you go.
She's very honest in that way. Like, she even posted, I think the day before or the day of the concert, she posted that she got a negative COVID test.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was good. She was no longer contagious. It was such a fun show. I would always recommend anyone to go to a Snow the Product show. She really knows how to
bring down the house, or what?
Yeah, she knows how to. She really interacts with her fans too, like, a lot.
That's kind of fun when artists do that kind of thing, you know, when they're not just kind of like this figure that is on stage, detached from their audience, kind of. And we see a lot of people try to do that, obviously for different circumstances, but it's kind of fun when the artist is in touch with the audience base and wants to be part of.
Totally, yeah. So she was just kind of talking about this past year. She was kind of talking about, because last year around this time when she also had a tour, I went to that tour as well. She was kind of going through a breakup.
Oh shit.
So it was kind of rough, and now she was kind of talking about like how much she's grown from that, and just being open about a lot of different things, and kind of giving meaning to the songs that she was performing. Like, before she would perform certain songs, she's like, well, this is kind of the context of it. And it was really interesting to like get a different perspective of the music.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times you listen to a song and the listener kind of interprets it and makes their own meaning or narrative about the song, and when in reality it might mean something else.
Yeah.
But that ambiguity, it's cool to transmit through songs, because that's like the magic of the art of music, I feel, where a song can resonate with a person a certain way,
totally,
and mean something different to another one. So that ambiguity and that kind of like free world of interpretation, gives the song itself a lot more depth.
Definitely. It's what makes music beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that everyone can interpret it a little bit differently.
That's cool. So she decided to let you guys know into a little synopsis of each song.
Yeah.
And then you were telling me that she liked to crowd surf.
She likes to crowd surf a lot. Yeah. Except last year, she was dropped.
Oh shit. She's a small person.
She's
too,
small.
no?
Yeah.
She's small.
People just don't know how to fucking
behave or what?
Yeah, basically. And she always emphasizes, put your phones away. Like, yeah.
Okay.
And then
I feel like that's easier to accomplish sometimes. Sometimes it's just like there's no way.
There's always people that be freaking out. Like, we're like, oh shit, I gotta get a video. And I did get a video, but it was like 5 seconds. Then I put my phone away because I knew she was gonna come toward me. And I actually was able to hold her up for a little bit, so that was cool.
Oh really?
Yeah, but I feel like there's people.
Her thigh or something?
I don't remember. I feel like sometimes people overly freak out when like they get touched by an artist or someone famous. There was a moment before
they feel
then.
Anointed.
Yeah, basically, and I don't know how that makes me. Well, I do know how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like uncomfortable. Like, I don't think you should freak out over anyone touching you like that. Like that's just. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that scene in SpongeBob. I feel like SpongeBob is so relatable. Where
SpongeBob
Pearl
has memes for days.
Oh yeah, where Pearl meets that famous dude, and she's like, "I'm never gonna wash this fin again."
Oh yes,
it's like that. Yeah, and it happened super close to me because I was pretty close to the stage, right? That was like kind of in the one of the corners, and she came up to us and she was like kind of reaching out, like interacting, and then I saw this girl, like she's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, she's a person, like chill.
She had just been anointed.
Yeah, like the Pope or something.
By the Holy Spirit or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It just rubs me off the wrong way, and I almost wonder how I would feel if I saw someone, like if I was in her position or in any famous person's position. I think it would make me uncomfortable to know that I have that effect on people.
I mean, it might make you uncomfortable, but a lot of people are,
they want
love
it.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
Narcissistic side of things.
That's true.
And that egotistical, I guess.
Yeah.
That tickles your ego, so it might feel good for them.
You're right. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Was the crowd good, or was there drama going on? Because last time we were at that concert, there was drama going on in front of us. Without us starting it even.
Yeah, no.
But
we never start shit.
Yeah, no. It's super chill.
Super chill people.
We try to be at least.
But actually there was kind of a lot of drama, unfortunately. Even before the concert started, when the DJ was out, I'm like, you guys are...
When the DJ was out?
Yeah. I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. Like, these two dudes. All I remember is...
Cockfighting or something?
I don't know what the fuck they were fighting about. But... they threw a drink and I felt it on my back. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I turned around.
People be doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
They be throwing drinks or ice.
Which honestly, like, what a waste of money. Like, you spent money on that drink. Yeah. You're not worthy of my alcohol. Like, I'm not going to waste my alcohol on you like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they started fighting. I actually took security quite a bit to like pull them apart.
Really?
Yeah. And then these other girls in like the middle of the concert, I could tell, how you can tell when people are fighting, but not necessarily like physically, like they were argumentative.
Yeah.
I remember it happened while she was crowd surfing. I'm like, you guys are missing the show. Like, you guys are missing this.
That's very dangerous. What if she would have landed in the middle of a fight?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That would not have been good.
No.
Yeah, there was little things here and there, but I mean, I tried to ignore it because I try to have obviously a good time and be present for the show.
Right. Well, that's what you're there
for.
Right.
That's what I paid money for.
The Quinceañera tour.
Yeah, the Quinceañera tour. She came out at the end in her quince dress.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What color was it?
It was black.
Black. Holy shit, man. Very dark. Dark.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the tonality that she kind of gives sometimes.
Yeah,
exhibits. I think I saw a video and she was wearing like a Nirvana shirt, no?
Yeah, she did. And for a good bit of the concert, she was.
Oh, she did an outfit change?
Mm-hmm.
Or
she
a
did
couple?
A few.
A couple, yeah, because she had the dress and everything.
Yeah, because when she first made the entrance, estaba vestida como mariachi, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She had the mariachi gear on.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it was a good homage to the culture. And she was something that I really like about her, too, is that she's very much an advocate for the queer community and the Mexican community or Latino community altogether.
Both of them.
She's very vocal. She's always been pretty vocal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember the first concert that I went to of hers was the Trump era. And she would like kind of just talk about that a little bit and like her sentiments in regard to that. So she's an advocate for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
You were home safe.
Yeah.
And, it was on a Thursday.
I was tired as fuck though because I had school the whole day.
The next day.
I went.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I went right after because I got off school at 6:20 and doors opened at 7. So I was like, gotta rush over because the lines get pretty long.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you got that merch.
I did.
You got a good vibe.
Yes.
Well, at least, during the concert, and you got to kind of touch Snow the product in a way.
Yeah, I guess.
From afar.
But I don't freak out about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's cool. But yeah, it was fun. So I recommend, if you guys don't know her, like, check her out. Go to a concert. It's a fun time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of in a rush of time because I do have a game. So let's jump to this section called Last News. Run it. All right. So the first news that I have is for the so waited in Longford Super Mario movie.
Ooh.
We still haven't seen it.
I know. I want to watch it so bad.
So don't worry about spoilers here.
Yeah,
we still haven't seen it. But we are planning to watch it sometime soon, I would say. And but there's a lot of things going on around the whole thing, right? First of all, it started. I when I was reading about the story, it was at 377 million worldwide for box office.
Holy shit!
Right now, it's at 508 million. So it has increased drastically worldwide. People are watching it. Obviously, Nintendo has a big influence in the world.
Oh yeah,
and the way it is. And I think they just opened a new Nintendo World or something.
I
don't know where. Is it in California?
It's in California.
Yeah.
And there's one in Japan as well, I believe.
Oh, okay. There you go. So I think it's kind of like an homage to that as well, trying to get people to, hey, come visit us. Because it is a commercial,
Of course.
It's advertisement. But and that's kind of like where I want to start, where a lot of people are criticizing the movie because they just feel, and by people, I mean Rotten Tomatoes, as they say in England, where they had a 56% in approval for critics in Rotten Tomatoes, but that was the critic side before, and it was like 40 something before they increased it, right? So they increased it to 56%, but the audience approval was like 96 or 97, so it was pretty high up there. So people are kind of divided right now because. And that's why it doesn't matter what movie it is, just watch it. You just gotta watch the movie because a lot of the movie critics are expecting this movie to be very elaborated in have subtextual meaning,
very
and
thematic.
Yeah, or have some deeper meaning to everything, which not all the time. Not all the time. It's a kids movie.
Yeah, not everything is that deep.
Yeah, not every, and it shouldn't, because or it can be, but it's,
shouldn't be a requirement.
They're kids watching this,
exactly.
You don't want the message to go over the kids' head, right? A great example, one of the few movies, because I don't really cry in movies, but one of the few movies that was animated that made me cry was Wreck-It Ralph.
What?
Yes, Wreck-It Ralph, the first one. I thought it was an awesome movie. And the reason why it made me cry is because the whole meaning of it, for me, my interpretation was friendship. How he goes and saves her. And,
I love that movie too.
What is it called? Vanellope. Silverman, no? Sarah Silverman is the one that voices her.
Love
great,
her.
Great job. But so that's one of the movies that made me cry. So, and the meaning is pretty straightforward. They have an adventure. Obviously, it's part of the whole thing. And then it becomes a friendship movie.
Yeah.
Kind of like Toy Story too. I feel like that's kind of like the subtextual meaning.
Story.
So these movies should not be very deep that the message goes over kids' head, that you're trying to.
Yeah, a movie doesn't have to be deep in order to be meaningful.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like an animation. And so critics kind of grab that side and say, well, it's a pretty simplistic plot and storyline. It's an adventure movie. I don't think this isn't a spoiler, I wouldn't say, but I think it's more of a saving Luigi type thing, than saving the
Peach.
Queen, which kind of in a way detracts itself from the typical storyline where knight in shining armor trying to save the queen.
Well, and that's what most of the games are based off of.
Yeah, and you can expect it to be very different than that, since it or have some sort of similar meaning to the game, because it is a game that they're trying to depict and interpret. So
and also there's plenty of Mario games that is based off of that Luigi is being saved.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that, but yeah.
I did not, but I remember the Princess and Luigi's Mansion. I played Luigi's Mansion, great game, but yeah, so they're criticizing it because of that. Meanwhile, the people that are going to watch the movie, the majority parents, adults, kids,
people who
teens,
grew up in that era.
Yeah, I mean, and who hasn't? That covers.
That's
I feel like that covers a big.
You're right,
big
because a lot of
generational
kids
gap.
these days still play Mario. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
getting into Mario.
Oh yeah, that's still very much a thing right now, and now even more. I feel like
Yeah, it's
with this approval,
multi-generational.
Yeah, now even more, which is insane to think about. And yeah, so Nintendo is basically promoting this with Illumination, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is a French animation company.
Oh, cool.
And they are also the ones that are going to be in charge of doing Shrek 5, because Shrek 5 is going to be.
On Shrek 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a whole nother beast.
I don't want to get it.
Yeah, let's not get into that right now.
No. Well, and we can, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, Illumination is seeing the graphics and the way the movie has been illustrated and animated. I was reading on it, and they're using like very new cutting edge technology.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
where they're trying to make it feel like it's kind of like realistic, but at the same time keeping that cartoonish feel to it. And a lot of people just criticize the movie for the plot, but when it comes to these animated movies, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it does feel like you're watching a video game. And you see the trailer, and they show Rainbow Road and the way the go-karts are going, and you could tell that there's a lot of work behind that.
It's beautiful.
They were actually talking about the go-karts, how they, or the vehicles that they use in the movie, and they work with Nintendo to try to get it as spot on as possible. So there's a lot of work behind it, and work that I think they started kind of like thinking about the movie on 2020, and then it went all the way to 2022. And
yeah, actually, a fact that I know is that all the voice actors did their work through Zoom.
Really?
Yeah. Jack Black talked about it.
Great cast too, which a lot of people were kind of criticizing or iffy about, because Chris Pratt interpreting Mario or whatever, and Charlie Day, Luigi. And,
I feel like that one fits.
Yeah. And then Jack Black just doing Bowser.
Honestly, I think that was the smartest decision they made, or one of the smartest decisions, because Jack Black is also very nostalgic. I feel like Jack Black is an actor that a lot of people, at least from my generation, admire and respect.
Yeah, no, and he's a great actor too. Like, there's no taking away. Like, he's goofy, but he knows how to be goofy. It takes talent. Yeah, and entertaining. That's the most important thing. And from the looks of it, from the press junkets that I've seen and all the interviews that they've done prior, or I guess post movie, when they do the whole, hey, what do you think about this? And they have the whole cast or whatever. By the looks of it, Jack seems very involved in it, and he seems like he would go to these what are they called, like galas or openings.
Like red carpets.
Yeah, basically. Red carpet events, fully dressed, in cosplay. Yeah, so you got to see a lot of the actors and actresses as well.
También who voiced Princess Peach, Anya Taylor-Joy. That's her name, right?
Yeah, she went in full costume, with the Peach getup for, I think fire. It's like the cosplay and the Mario Kart gear or something like that. The
premiere is what I was thinking about.
Premiere, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is, a premiere. But yeah, red carpet events, I guess that qualifies too, because they've done a couple of them, and they're saying that this movie might be one of the best ones in 2023.
Sure.
Just in attendance and how much revenue it has created.
Right.
So there's something to learn about that. And it also, during that pandemic, a lot of the movie theaters were kind of still are going through a hard time with the attendance, and people just kind of like lounging in their couch, wanting to watch everything from their couch, which I'm a big, not advisor, but I'm a big advocate for attending movie theaters and kind of saving our theaters. So
same here.
Just because it's it's something.
It's just something fun to do.
Yeah,
it's
and I feel
activity.
like it's an activity that has been going on for years now, and I feel like it shouldn't be lost. I don't.
It's an art. There's an art to it.
Yeah, and there's a beauty to being in a room, full of people for the first time in a big screen with your popcorn, and call me nostalgic, but I don't think it should be lost. So don't go out, watch a movie, get out of your fucking ass. I know that a lot of people were not traumatized, but kind of like pushed into that because of the whole COVID thing, where everything from the comfort of your home, and they're still trying to get out of that rut, I would say. And they say that this type of movie, these family movies that, the kid is like, mom, I want to go watch. They're pulling the parents out of there. And then obviously at some point you have to make those movies attractive enough for the parents to enjoy.
That's true.
Which a lot of parents do, even though they might claim no, but I feel like a lot of parents do end up enjoying the movie itself, the animated movies. And that could be what saves a lot of the theaters, I feel.
Right. And I do agree with obviously the COVID pandemic did affect a lot of movie theaters. But I think another factor that we haven't addressed is mass shootings.
Oh, yeah.
Not to put a damper on things, but that shit's real.
Well, thank you.
A lot of people, I know you're like, today's going to be a palate cleanser.
Yeah, which the movie theater we go to here in Aurora was actually one of our favorite movie theaters, and we've been to quite a few. It was the infamous, I would say,
with the Joker
shooter.
movie.
Yeah, with the Joker movie, that guy that went in kind of a Joker attire or interpreting his version or whatever, and he went in and
so I mean, I feel like that fear is very present still, and that's another contributing factor as to why people are hesitant to go to the movie theater.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I guess my joyful palate cleansing mentality had not really taken that into consideration, even though we go to a theater that was, I mean, I still remember that shit going on the news. Right. It was very, very heartbreaking. And well, thank you for that. Yeah. No, but I feel like hopefully the culture of going to the theater and being surrounded by people for, to watch something that we all like for the first time, it's very magical.
Yeah, I hope it stays alive. It's something that we really enjoy doing and with our friends and stuff. So I hope it doesn't die. Yeah. Well, it's kind of similar to, I think, what happened when, drive-in theaters used to be a really big thing.
Which drive-in theaters are amazing. I've
always, that's on my bucket
list. You've never been to a drive-in theater? Oh, it's so cool. Especially like if you have a truck or something where you can like sit on the cabin it's fucking great. I bet. Especially in the summer.
Yeah, it sounds so nice.
Yeah, the town I grew up on had I think they still have it running. Okay. And it's really cool. It's definitely a different experience, and I can't remember if you had to like tune in into a radio station and then you would like hear
the audio.
Yeah, I want to say that was the case, or if they had like speakers or both. Okay. But I think it was like a mix of both.
Cool.
Yeah, so that in itself had a magical thing. And then they always, if you had change, they always had you're good. They always had like $2 bills that they would give you. So it was like very retro.
$2 bills?
Yeah.
I feel like that's very random.
Yeah, very random stuff. I don't know if it was just uniquely to that drive-in theater, or is it drive-in theater?
Yeah, drive-in.
Yeah, drive. I always get drive-in and drive-through
that's
mixed
funny.
up.
Yeah.
That's just me. My Mexicanness, I guess.
The English language.
Yeah, the English language. But I remember that they would give you $2 bills and you would get to see it and watch the movie.
Oh, wow.
And I got to see a few movies. I actually used to practice at a field that was kind of nearby, so you can kind of watch the movie without having to pay from afar, because the screen was humongous. And cool. I practiced kind of up in a hill, so I was able to like see everything.
Well, that sounds like a vibe.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool times back in the day. I'm talking about back in the day. But Mario Brothers movie out in theaters. I'm gonna be watching it. I don't know about you, but
of course I am. I love Mario. I grew up on that shit.
Plus, we have movie tickets.
I have so many credits. I have like 8 credits that we haven't used.
Yeah, because you have the membership, right? Yeah. Is it the Regal membership?
It's Cinemark.
Cinemark. Okay. Yeah, the Cinemark. For those of you guys that have a Cinemark nearby, I would say that the incentives that I'm just giving them advertisement here, but
hashtag not sponsored, but sponsored.
Yeah, hashtag not sponsored by Cinemark, but for the sake of saving the theaters, the incentive program that they have for having a membership is actually really nice. They, I can't believe I'm about to do the rundown. They do like 20% on snacks or something like that.
Yeah, so each month it's a membership for $10 a month, I believe, and they give you a ticket. They say it's free, but I consider it not free because you're paying for the membership.
Right. Yeah.
So one ticket per month, and then you get 20% off snacks, and we fucking love snacks. So for us, it's worth it because we fuck up the snacks, you know.
Yeah, and they're pricey too.
Yeah,
and they're pricey. At least. They're not so bad in Cinemark. I don't know if that's just like a local thing or if it varies depending on different places. But yeah, I mean, we can hype up that shit all the time. We went to the AMC theater.
Oh yeah,
to watch a movie.
It was not as good as we.
But they say like 100 years of bringing you the best, and it's supposed to be. It's portrayed as being kind of like more bougie. I would say. At least in my perspective, and I did not have a good experience from the reclining chairs.
In comparison, at least.
In comparison to where we go, you know.
Yeah.
And they do bring snacks to you because you're a fat ass, you know. Not you. Sorry if you. Sorry if you're a fat ass, not you. Sorry.
I got you.
If we are fat asses, is what I was
fuck up a good tub of popcorn.
Oh yeah, easy. I could fuck up two tubs.
2 tubs. Yeah.
Popcorn is like my shit.
Same.
Yeah. I don't understand people that don't like popcorn. I just don't know. I guess it does get stuck in your teeth. That's kind of an annoying thing. Yeah. Just grab a toothpick.
Yeah, it's not the biggest deal,
but yeah.
And then they have the seat warmers at Cinemark.
You gotta have the ass warmers.
Come on.
Yeah. Your tushy. If your tushy is cold, you want to be able to at least warm it up. And you could say, "How spoiled." Hey, homie,
hey.
I'm paying.
Yeah.
I'm a member, okay?
I'm a member.
I deserve these assets, these privileges.
Oh, Karen.
Yeah.
Karen up in the place.
Let me put my hair out to the side right here. So yeah, Mario movie. Go watch it. And hopefully you guys like it and keep going to the movie theaters, and we'll stay tuned to see what happens with Shrek 5 or Shrek.
I know. They should have just stopped.
I think so. After the third one, 3 movies
I
is fine.
agree.
They are bringing the original cast, they say.
Okay.
So Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, everybody's
Mike
coming
Myers.
back. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's coming back, and the same thing with the cast in Spanish, because Shrek in Spanish.
Oh, it hits
Shrek
different.
in Spanish is very different for those that are bilingual.
Yeah.
And that have the privilege, I would say, to be able to watch Shrek in both languages. You compare, and I'm not dismeriting anything or taking merit out of the Shrek in English, and obviously I'm biased because I'm Mexican, but the jokes are very different. The way the elaboration of the story goes is very different. I feel like it's more comedic, and Shrek is that type of movie that lets you get deep in comedy. You know? It at least from my perspective.
Yeah, and I was actually sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was listening to this interview with Eugenio Derbez, who voices Donkey in Spanish, and he was
Burro.
Burro. He was talking about how, because he also voiced Mushu in Mulan, the Disney movie.
Yeah,
and
the
he was
little
talking
dragon.
about kind of like the different experiences between that, where in Mulan they didn't really give him much creative liberty. They kind of was like, no, you have to stick to the script. He was like, can I change this? Like, I feel like it'd be funnier, more culturally like
naturalize it to the
and they're like, no, like you have to stick to the script. Whereas with Shrek, they gave him a lot of creativity and allowed him to like insert more of his own thing.
Which Eugenio Derbez ran a show for years, and he
very successful man,
successful man, and definitely knows the ins and outs of comedy.
Oh yeah,
hands down. There's no discussion there, and I feel like that's why he has become one of the most relevant Mexican actors in
most beloved too,
in Hollywood, and he has gotten shit here and there from different aspects,
right,
or different sources, but I feel like that's just like the hating crowd, that even the media, hating media, that has this crab-like mentality of bringing people down and bringing people of your own ethnicity down and culture, that we see a lot. So he was definitely one of the all-stars in that movie, in the Spanish movie, Eugenio Derbez, because he gave Burro just a
little touch of
something. Just a little touch, from the voice to the way. Yeah, it's just amazing. If you are able to watch Shrek in Spanish, fucking watch it. Which, if you are at least 30, I hope if you're Hispanic and you are 30, you should at least have watched the first one once. Yeah. Which one do you like the most?
The second one.
It's second one,
no question.
The second one, okay.
I really love the first one, but the second one just hits different.
Yeah. Why is that? What do you? No spoilers. No, I'm just playing it.
I think the storyline is very well created.
Okay.
I think they did a lot of different things. I feel like the first one was great, but in comparison, I think it was simple.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the second one, I feel like there was more complexity, and I think they did a good job with incorporating minor characters from the first movie and like kind of shining a light to them.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to know the characters a little bit more, and they did it very well, I think.
Yeah. I agree because you have the whole Pinocchio and the whole like
it's a thong
rescue squad thing. Yeah,
that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what a good movie does.
Yeah.
The first movie, I feel like, does a really good job of giving the characters depth, creating their personalities and their backgrounds and the way they feel about certain things and why they feel about certain things. And the second movie just kind of expands on that. And I feel like when you do a sequel of anything, that's what's, if it's done correctly, because a lot of people say, well, sequels are always a bust, but I feel like there's been instances where second movies, even third movies, very rare, but even third movies can be very cool. Because
like the Rocky movies. That's not animated, but
yeah. Rocky movies do a great job because you get to know, even though it's the same formula, because you are invested in the characters and the way he managed himself and the relationship that he has with Adrian in this case. It just evolves in that, and then he has a kid, and then
the movies just build off of each other.
Yeah, I mean, for Rocky, just a fucking amazing movie because of that. Because it's so simple. He's gonna fight. He's gonna either win or lose or whatever. He's gonna get up. We're gonna get that nice montage, 80s montage of him getting ripped and trained and getting ready for it. We know that that's coming, but it's what happens in between,
So true. And I think that kind of ties back to something that we were talking about earlier with like the critics, how you don't necessarily need a complex story. You just need a good, simple story.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes, or characters that that have depth within themselves. Maybe not the story, but the character itself it's deep, and the relationships and the way he connects with other characters in the series or the show. I think of there's shows that have very little very little dialogue, and they are able to connect with the audience and with the storyline, like the one is it A Quiet Place, the one with John Krasinski?
Yeah.
It's John Krasinski, yes. Right? That's his name. I'm really bad with names, so
got it.
Yeah, hardly any dialogue, and just the way they act and the way they do things, or perform things, is very meaningful and deep, and that's kind of hard to do, I feel. Which is something, going back to Rocky, it's something that he does, and not just Rocky, but a lot of the characters that he has interpreted, like Rambo,
are very stoic.
Yeah, very stoic. Simple, don't say much, but when they say something, it's always like with this very unique touch to the character.
It's like a sharpness to it.
Yeah. Or the simplicity makes it beautiful, I guess. I don't know how they do it. And that's why I feel like that's good script, you know.
That's good writing.
That's good writing, because it's the whatever you say, you're not going to say a lot, but when you say it, you have to say it right, and you have to display it right, and it has to be cut through.
That's
you know,
so true.
cut through the movie or the audience.
Yes.
And then you have other scripts that are very elaborated and very eloquent, and you have a lot of things going on, which are beautiful too, you know.
Well, like Hollywood, or what is that movie called? The 3-hour movie that we just watched.
Oh, Babylon.
That's the name of it.
Yeah. And then we saw Babylon, and is that the one? Did one of the characters have a monologue there? I feel like one of the characters had a monologue. I don't know if it was Margot Robbie's character or one of them. If I'm not mistaken, but they have like this extensive monologue that they do, which is super hard to fucking memorize even. And
it's just shocking, like how people can learn so much of like memorize that, you know, and execute it correctly. It also always makes me wonder how long it took them to record that, like how many takes it took.
Well, in the movie itself, because if you haven't seen Babylon, go watch Babylon. It's a long movie. That's a lot of a movie that got a lot of criticism, and it's a fucking great movie. It's a great movie from the get-go. It's very intense, you know, and it just keeps going. It's like,
maybe don't watch it with your parents, but
don't don't. There's a lot of titties. There's a lot of penises. There's a lot of drugs.
Some fuck shit.
It's Hollywood, you know. They're showing you Hollywood in the 1920s, the golden age of Hollywood before it hit the 1930s, which was kind of where the Great Depression started and whatnot. So they basically talk about how, without spoiling too much, the transition of what's it called? Silent films. Silent films. Silent cinema.
The evolution of cinema, essentially, right?
Yeah. They take you through that path. How these actors were amazing whenever it came to silent films, because you had music and then somebody would put the dialogue or whatever on the screen, and it was just very simplistic that way. I kind of going back to what we had. Very few words, no dialogue, but still, you know, they had some sort of magical thing. And then slowly the transition to audio began, and these companies, these big theater companies that were established back in the day, started implementing this, and how the actors themselves in the whole production side, how to adjust.
It was like a learning curve, essentially, because they had to learn they could act, but maybe they couldn't with words.
Exactly.
So I've never thought about that before, and it was interesting to see that, and to think about what actors went through.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to like movies and stuff. I love movies. That's why I can talk about this shit all day long, because I just love film, and it's just, to me, it was cool that they showed you, because I never really even thought about it. Like, to me, it's just like, it's just a microphone, and people were ready to go. But no, they had a lot of issues. And if it's based loosely on real events, people even like almost died or died in the attempt to achieve sound.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And make a good movie. Exactly. Everything was more raw and more... Yeah, it was crazy how they used to do things, honestly.
A lot more liability.
Yes. Do you have any... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to ask you if you want to transition to kind of what you were talking about before, because I'd be interested to listen to what you have to say.
Oh, which...
About the drugs.
Oh, yes. So the other news that I have, let me go ahead and move here. It was about a couple of research papers that I was reading about, and it was in the use of hallucinogenic drugs in early eras. And it was they found in caves up in Spain, or a part of Spain, that in these burial grounds, people were using hallucinogenic plants and herbs and bushes about 3,000 years ago.
Shit.
3,000 years ago, people were doing these type of things. And basically how they discovered this is in this burial ground that was inside this cave. They it's called Escarrix caves. It's what it's called in Spain. And they found these graves up to 200 funeral graves, I guess, or funeral spots. And in these graves, they had a vases or containers. And in the containers, there was hair. So they did like a hair follicle analysis, exactly, and they were able to see that there was different hallucinogenic drugs that were used for ritual purposes.
That's interesting that you can find that in your hair.
But yeah,
I guess you can find traces of marijuana in your hair, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, very similar aspect. It's just crazy that it can stay for that, or they were able to trace it for that long.
That's wild.
3,000 years ago, and they had these bases or whatever containers had kind of like spirals all over them. So what the spirals mean is kind of up for interpretation, because the people that are doing this research say that it might have been sort of like a interpretation of life and the religious belief that they might have had, or the interpretation or spiritual meaning behind it. When it might be something like, don't ask me how I know this, but when people do shrooms or people do LSD, a lot of people start seeing sort of like mandala type of visions or fractals, or things of that nature, very specific structures or patterns even. And I feel like maybe by doing these drugs or taking these chemicals in, they might have seen something that was spiral-like, and then that just became a thing. But
so people are theorizing.
Yeah, that's up for interpretation. That's not.
I mean, there's no way to know for certain.
There's no way to know
3,000 fucking years ago.
Unless you're tripping with them. But yeah, no, it's was fine. Found that it had different types of chemicals. Some of them were atropine, scopolamine, which induce hallucinations and delirium, and ephedrine, which is kind of like a boost of energy. And these energy is kind of like an upper, I guess, as they call it in the world.
A stimulant?
A stimulant, yes. And they used to use it, and they said it was for ritualistic purposes.
Interesting.
Which, if you think about it, it brings like a very weird meaning to the whole religious part of things and the way they depict drugs, even in our society nowadays, because drugs are perceived as with a negative connotation, obviously. But I feel like there's different types of drugs. These are drugs that are coming from nature to begin with, and to see that our ancestors were using it for different purposes from early records of time, it's just very interesting. And I feel like, especially coming from a Christian background, I feel like that's very misjudged in a way, or just not judged in the right way, because I feel like a lot of the religions that we perceive might have been started from some sort of drug intake or of some sort.
Well, I have a question, because you brought a good point about religion, and I can say what I know from a Catholic perspective, but I'm curious because you're Christian but not Catholic. You went to church for a good amount of time. So I'm curious, would the topic of drugs ever come up, and like, if so, how?
I mean, I feel like it's the same as many other Christian beliefs or branches of Christianity, which don't do them. They are kind of like an open. They leave you open and vulnerable for demons or evil spirits to come in and take over. Plus, there's the whole side of addiction, but there's different ways of that addiction works. Not every drug is addictive the same way. And if we're talking about addiction, we can start with coffee, which is also a stimulant. And a lot of people in like the Mormon church don't take caffeine. So where do you draw the line?
Right.
Who's right and who's wrong? That's why this openness to interpretation and is very vague if you really look at it, unless you're like completely believing in something or whatever, blindly believing. It's you could go that way, but at the same time, I feel like you have to be a little more critical of what you believe and why you believe it. Like I always say, and being open to criticism doesn't mean that you're against your religion, I wouldn't say, or your beliefs. It's just that you are willing to put your own beliefs on the scale and actually measure up to to see if they measure up to what you actually understand of the world surrounding you.
Yeah, and I guess my interpretation of that is, I wouldn't say I'm religious necessarily, but I'm a believer of God, and God gave us curiosity, so why wouldn't He want us to question things?
Yeah. And I mean, and if you really want to get nitty gritty, how do you even judge people that were doing these rituals 3,000 years ago?
I'm wondering how it got twisted like that, you know?
Well, just think about it from at least from a Christian view, you would say that no, those people were not they were not introduced to Christianity or that belief, and so they're just gonna go to hell. Then they're just gonna be judged with the same stick as everybody else, which it doesn't make sense. At least in my logic, it wouldn't make sense. That's why I feel like each person, if you believe in God, God will judge you according to your life, particularly to your life, because it would be unjust. In my logic, in my perspective, it would be unjust to judge everybody with the same stick, with this set of rules, exactly how it is. It doesn't make sense. And
because we don't live in an equitable society.
No, there's people are born in very detrimental situations or up high situations, and I feel like you can't measure up. See, that's where the complexity of things, like if you really start thinking about the judgment and the morality of religion, that's where it starts kind of crumbling down, because at least in my eyes, because you can go one way and you got to go by the book, but then even the book itself has contradicted, because when you go to the Old Testament, it's a set of rules and set of values, and then on the New Testament, once Jesus comes, it kind of transforms all of that, a lot of that stuff. The meaning is still the same, where you have to like obey God and go along and follow His paths. But how do you judge somebody with technology nowadays that has access to more distractions, more information, more doubts, I would say, and temptations, yeah, exactly. To somebody that was 2,000 years ago, that had no internet, where it was just basic as fuck. So it just doesn't make sense, the morality aspect and the way we perceive the judgment. And that's why nobody should be judging, because nobody has the stick to measure with. Only if you believe in God, only God with its infinite wisdom, I would say, is able to put you on the scale and actually measure you accordingly. And if He's a just God, as the Bible says, it should be involved in the context, at least in my
in your perspective.
In my perspective, yes. So that's my little rundown about the whole drug use in ancient times. And I also had a lot of people not a lot of people, but people in China 2,500 years ago were also consuming the first traces of THC.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, cannabis.
Cannabis. No, cannabis. I have a hard time saying that word. And yeah, same thing. For ritualistic purposes, they would do it in these burners that they had in these mountains, where they found traces of the plant, and they would use it because of its oily seeds, and because marijuana has a lot of uses. Like you could use it's medicinal plant. Yeah, you could use the plant for a lot of things. And same thing, they were saying that a lot of these Asian cultures back in the day, they would be using it for rituals, and that just brings you to the whole thing with spirituality and certain drugs. And not all drugs, like I said, there's different.
Oh, there's definitely a spectrum.
Yeah, there's definitely a spectrum, and that's why we shouldn't measure everything with the same thing, because there's chemical and synthesized drugs that are up in the market that are terrible, that are deadly. I completely understand meth, fentanyl, cocaine. I would throw in there. There's a lot of things that are out there that will fuck you up straight up, and they're addictive as well.
Right.
But there's other things that are like psilocybin mushrooms that are now being seen as a way of treatment, exactly, helping people with PTSD or that's the main one that comes to my head.
I've also heard people, I mean, these are from personal narratives, but people going through existential crisis and then kind of working through that through mushrooms.
Yeah, like microdosing, and it's just an interesting place because a lot of people, it might bring something negative on them that releases them once they are able to live through that. I feel like that's kind of how it is for the most part. Whenever you try something that is psychoactive in nature, when people do DMT or when people do peyote or something like that, ayahuasca, they kind of always talk about coming into confrontation with some sort of like dark past or some sort of dark emotion
within themselves, right?
Within themselves, yeah, something that they don't want to confront. And by doing these things and kind of formulating the dream into a narrative and understanding that you're able to surpass those events or those traumas that you might have. So that's kind of where the psychoactive use of drugs, natural medicine comes in and is able to help people move forward. And obviously everything in excess is wrong. That's something that I have very clearly in my head. Anything that you do excessively can turn
into an addiction.
Yeah, it can turn into an addiction or is detrimental for
right.
you. You drink a lot of water, you can have like water poisoning or something.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
but it's true. Everything in moderation. It just also made me think about, I don't know, just the general stigma there is about drugs still. People are just so close-minded that they can't accept that there can be some medicinal or therapeutic properties to drugs. Yeah.
And the something interesting that I found about the people in Asia that were doing this, the THC, is that they found that the plant tends to have, depending on how high is in elevation is cultivated or is grown, that has effect on the THC levels that it has.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Maybe that would explain why in Colorado they have great weed,
Oh.
Yeah, because elevation has sort of, and the nutrients that are available kind of concentrate the THC at a higher level.
Wow.
So these people were definitely fucking high.
Yeah.
These
fried.
Yeah, they were tossed, they definitely were grilled.
Toasty.
Yeah, they were toasted up. And yeah, it's just kind of, and the same thing, it was for ritualistic spiritual purposes. So even then I don't feel like they were just, it was kind of like meaningful to them because it was kind of a big deal. They were doing it in these ceremonies.
Oh, wow.
So, and I think Native Americans have the same
totally.
of tradition with smoking certain things that will connect them to their ancestors or something like that. So just a very interesting research papers that I was able to dabble in during the weekend.
How'd you get into that rabbit hole?
I just trying to detach myself from the negativeness of the news, trying to bring more of a lighthearted podcast this week. So yeah, I was just like, I thought it was interesting. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and these things go back
ancient
years. I'm talking about 2,500 years, 4,000 years, 3,000 years. It's just insane, man. Before any of the modern civilization was actually established, before they had connections or whatever.
Shit, I don't know. This also just makes me, because there's something that's been going on in my hometown where they essentially, there was just an election. They voted on basically allowing a dispensary to be in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yeah.
And I saw that on Facebook, and then I was kind of reading the comments, and a lot of people were mad. A lot of older people were mad. This town's going to shit. I'm like, okay, first of all, it's already shit. Second of all, I think there's this narrative or stereotype that stoners are addicts and that they're going to get addicted to it. I mean, there's an addiction to it, but almost like they're criminals almost. I'd say they kind of treat them that way. So I don't know, it's just
when we know
so
Betty,
many closed-minded people.
How many people I've seen, older people, Betty is getting her fucking medicinal
them joints hurt
for the arthritis or whatever. So people need to chill. People need to smoke. That I feel like people need to smoke so that they can understand what kind of effects it has. You can't judge, you know. You can't judge if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's completely understandable and respectful, and
of
respect it.
I'm not gonna force you to fucking
don't
smoke
do
a doobie.
it forcingly. But for some people it helps them, and they're able to manage themselves like that. And I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't be, and you know, this is a hot take for me, but if you're going to be smoking just because of the damages the weed can have on your brain, you shouldn't be smoking at an early age.
Right.
You know, you shouldn't.
I'm an advocate for that as well.
I'm an advocate for that. You know, whenever I started like actually dabbling into smoking myself, it was at a later age. I was already an adult, 26, 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, around that 27, I want to say. So way after 25, whenever they say your brain is fully developed or whatever. So I'm not against it, but I am against the younger generations dabbling into the marijuana consumption at an early age.
Well, because it's kind of similar to, because it has a damaging effect.
Yeah, because
it
has a
fucks with your development and your
exactly.
frontal lobe, where your impulse control is, and your ability to make decision making is.
Affected.
Affected
one way or another. So.
But I would argue, I don't know, there's a lot of people that are against that, and where it really gets a legalization of weed. But I would argue, well, then why are you okay with alcohol being legal? I feel like alcohol is even more damaging to you than marijuana can be. Yeah, no, and alcohol damages different parts of your body, from your neurological system to your liver,
endocrine, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. Your liver, your processing,
your kidneys, I believe.
Your kidneys, right? Everything. Yeah, it's alcohol. You're literally putting alcohol in your body. So, why isn't there no limitations in that? You know, we can, and I feel like that's an ongoing argument. You know, that's a very complex argument that you can keep going with. Sure. But, you know, fuck these smokers, you know, meanwhile you're fucking,
let me drink these Coronas.
Yeah, or bottling down bourbon.
Bud Lights, whatever. Yeah.
How
are we doing on time?
We still have some time for another news.
Okay, I have a good noodle news.
Right.
It's feel good.
All right, so let's go to this section called the Good Noodle of the Week.
Good Noodle of the Week is a British man, actually.
British man. Okay.
His name is Nick Hardman, and he's a single dad, and he is a 3D printing hobbyist, is what he self-identifies as. Okay. And during the COVID pandemic, basically, he was kind of really getting into the 3D printing thing. And then he started making these teddy bears, but they were like special teddy bears where they were shown either with like prosthetics or like oxygen tanks. Some kind
of like inclusive.
Yeah, very inclusive teddy bears. Oh, he's from Leeds, England.
Leeds, I know.
Yeah.
Leeds United. Yeah, for the EPL, English Premier League.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, or maybe like little pacemakers, so that essentially he just wanted children to feel like represented, and it also helps them understand maybe what their bodies are going through. And I guess he shipped over, what's the number? 2,300 bears all over the world.
2,300 bears.
Yeah. I was like, that's so wholesome. Like, and he's not really doing it. It's not really a business. He's only selling them for about 20 pounds, I think is what I read. And that's essentially like $25.
Okay.
So he's not really doing it for the money. He just really wants to spread that joy around. And I don't know, it made me feel good. There's a lot of shit going on, but also there's little things that,
those little pockets of hope, I would say. Yeah.
So
damn.
Really
shout
good.
out to him.
Yeah.
Does he have kids, or
he has a son? Yes.
And does his son have any sort of physical?
I think he does. I like tried to look. It was like a very short article, but I didn't find if he had anything. But yeah, there's just a lot of there's pictures too that I can show you. But
yeah, we'll post them up here. Yeah.
Very wholesome.
Well, that's nice. You know, to help kids, especially if it's for the kids.
Yeah.
To not feel like out of the, I don't know what's it called,
out of the norm, maybe
out of the norm, or excluded. Excluded. Which that just reminds me. Do you remember those bears that Build-A-Bear? You could make them. You could create your own.
There's actually that reminded me of something. Well, maybe it's a little controversial. It shouldn't be, in my opinion, it shouldn't be controversial, but Build-A-Bear just came out with a design for a RuPaul bear, like a drag queen. RuPaul.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has like a crazy wig or something.
Yeah, they do. The teddy does. I can show you a picture of that too.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if it's still a big thing, but Build-A-Bear was a big thing back in I want to say like early 2000s.
Yeah, I always wanted
for
one.
Me, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted one too.
You did?
Yeah.
We should go to Build-A-Bear.
We should. I don't know if there's one here, but we should. I remember they used to have them. If I'm not mistaken, I used to see them all the time in Toys R Us. Remember Toys R Us was a thing? Man, this program has been nostalgic as fuck, dude. But yeah, Toys R Us. I want to say they had some, how they would create some already, and you got to build, just grab the one that they already had made for you, or you could go in and actually like dress them up. And, and
I don't have much experience with Toys R Us because it was kind of on the cusp of when they kind of shut down a bunch of stores. I remember there was a store in Grand Junction.
There was a Toys R Us in Junction.
And then they shut it down after a while. And I was like, oh, fuck.
I remember that was like a big thing back in the day in Mexico because when I grew up in Toys R Us was like on its peak. And that was the place to go whenever you went from Mexico to the U.S. if you had that privilege.
It was like Disneyland.
It was Disneyland in a way because you got to see all the American toys that super expensive, obviously.
Yeah.
But I remember our dad would take us to across the border to El Paso, and they had Toys R Us there.
Aww.
and we go and see the bikes and I got some of the coolest toys there,
Yeah.
And it was my first time experiencing the U.S. and its commercialism, I guess.
When it was still magical.
Yes. When I was like a 6-year-old, 8-year-old. And it was always exciting when he said we were going to go and check out the toys at Toys R Us.
Is there a toy that you really remember, or is it kind of far past your memory?
No, I do remember, and this might be more niche, but I grew up a lot in these things called Bionicles.
Yeah, my brothers were into that too.
Yeah. It was definitely
about those.
A guy thing, I want to say.
It's kind of like Legos, but not Legos, right?
It's like, I think it's a trademark of Legos or something like that. Because Legos participates with everybody.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like there's like Harry Potter Lego World or Star Wars, which people pay insane amount of money for that. Like an actual Lego set, those things are expensive.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they were kind of like that. They had different weapons, and there was this like cartoon, I guess, and this show that had him. And
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we got to see a little bit, and then they were just cool looking. I wish I still had one. I had quite a few, and then you could like the Legos just allow you, to be very creative and create your own things and. I would put like this foot's leg on this other guy, or arm, or
you should do an origin story of Legos, like for a TikTok.
That would be cool, actually.
Yeah,
coming soon. That's actually a good idea. I could do that. I've been actually needing to do another one, so
because it's like a fucking empire, like what you were describing. Yeah, there's Legoland. There's video games of Legos. Yeah, it's crazy.
Another Chris Pratt. I think he comes out. I think he's.
Oh, maybe. I never saw that one. So.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's Chris Pratt.
Okay.
One of the main characters, but that would be a good idea, and people pay insane amount of money. I don't know what the most expensive Lego out there is.
Fuck.
What is it before we go?
I know those Harry Potter ones are pretty fucking expensive. Okay, right. Okay, this is maybe not the most expensive one, but right off the bat, there's one for $2,600.
$2,600.
Okay, let's see.
Which one's that one?
Lego Star Wars.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I know that those are very expensive.
Okay, maybe we have to do some research because there's some varying things, but something that came up is the Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
For
iconic.
$850.
Okay, so it's up there.
Yeah,
it's up there. There's a lot of collectibles. I remember just a brief story. The first time I was introduced to like real like high level Lego builds was my aunt used to take care of this house. These people were pretty well off, and one of the rooms that I got to stay in was the son's room. The son was older. I was a little kid, so they let me stay in his room.
Okay.
Or old room. And I remember going in there and he had all the Lego sets.
Fuck yeah.
Like shit ton of like a fucking bookshelf filled with them, and I was just like a little kid in shock, dude. And we got there at night, and then the first thing I did that morning was fucking play with the Lego sets.
That's sweet.
Just a brief one.
Legos are so fun.
And then I also understood what stepping on a Lego meant.
Yeah. Shit fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my brothers and I used to play that shit all the time. We would fight over the good Legos all the time.
Good Legos. Huh?
Because we didn't have that many like characters, so we would fight over like the faces or whatever. That's what I want them to be pistols. Oh, I remember too. I had this really fun SpongeBob Lego set. Oh. Actually, it was like of the Krusty Krab, and I had like a little SpongeBob and a Mr. Krabs and a Squidward and a Patrick. It was fun.
Nice.
Good memory.
Well, with that, we're going to go to the last section that we have in this podcast called What's Your Bop? Diana, let's start with yours. So what is your bop for the week? What has been moving and grooving through your veins, coursing through your brain?
My bop definitely has to be a Snow the Product song.
Of course, yes. Let's do that. What's
Mine will be, let's see. Let's do Waves. Waves is such a good song, I think.
I've listened to that song, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the vibe that it gives.
I just love her lyricism as well.
We haven't had that already, no? On What's Your Bop?
Oh, did we?
I don't know.
If not, I'll do a different one.
Do a different one? Yeah, just in case, because I want to say that I recall it, but I don't know.
Avioncito.
Avioncito. Okay. What's that one about?
It's kind of like about this relationship where it's like kind of will they, won't they, I'd say.
Okay. Like
kind of like the struggles of a relationship. Yeah.
Mine is gonna be a throwback, a classic, Katy Perry. I Kissed a Girl.
Whoa. Yeah, okay, I feel like that's so random.
I know. But it's been in my head throughout the week.
Okay.
And I like the song, and I've been listening to it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It brings good memories. It brings good memories from soccer back in the day when you used to go to an away game, and it was when it was going off during that time, and then all the guys would sing it, and it was like a thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Bus. Yeah, it was a good memory. So, and it's been kind of resonating here. So,
awesome.
Shout out to Katy Perry and Snow the Product.
Hell yeah.
Well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next episodes. And you already know, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification right there so you guys are aware and informed of when a new episode comes out. Thank you for the support. Let us know in the comment section if you guys what do you guys think about the Mario movie? If you guys have seen it. If not, let's start a conversation about that. What do you guys think? Do you guys think people should go watch the movie and see for themselves, or are you guys more of a Rotten Tomatoes I guess crowd and go off of that? And I'm interested to see what you guys think, and we sure are gonna watch it and give you guys.
Or let us know if you guys want us to talk about certain topics too.
Yeah. Just let us know. We're open.
Yes.
We're open for you guys. Well, thank you guys anyways. Stay tuned for anything that comes up in the next few weeks. And anything else you got to say before we go?
No, that is all.
All right. Well,
take care of yourselves.
Stay safe, stay weird, and stay awesome. Everything is awesome. Now that shit stuck in my head.